Okay, so you're just looking at it and saying, am I distributing the colors? Do I even care if I distribute the colors? Maybe you don't care. And then I need to line up the tips because now I've made a big mess, right? So actually, usually we put this in a medicine bottle or a stacker. I don't know if there's a stacker somewhere. But we'll live. We'll live without the stacker. And kind of line up the tips with the stacker. Okay. Now I'm really looking to see how's this going to work out when I tie this in, because I don't want everything flying everywhere. So you got to look at your ends. Okay. It's not bad. I wish some were longer. Sorry, my hand's probably in the way. And trim. Okay, now I'm going to tie in, not this whole thing, but about 3/4. And then I'm going to do the shortcut and use my fingernails to spread the bucktail around the top, the front side, and the back side, and leave the bottom open for the white. So I dipped it in the water. Now, some people cut the ends on an angle, so you kind of reduce the bulkiness of the head. So I think in some cases the sign of a good tyer is to have a nice, neat, small head. If there's a big, bulky head, it'll work. It just will look a little awkward, so to speak. Alright, so the first couple ties are light, but not too light that we lose everything. Because I want to be able to use my fingernail, and I'm going to roll the materials so it's on 3 of the sides, the top, the front, and the back. And then I'll secure this. Maybe that, I'm going to back off on that. If you don't like anything in tying, just back off of it. That's the beautiful thing. I could take this whole fly apart and readjust it. No one says you have to stick with it. If you're not gluing it down at every moment, you can always adjust the fly. Okay, let's see how that looks. That's a little far over. I'm going to bring it back. Look at the bottom. It's really important to look at the bottom. You sort of lose track of the bottom. And if there's one you don't like, get rid of it. If there's a bucktail that's crazy, get rid of it. Okay? So, I've got that. I can even comb it a little bit. I'll probably get made fun of for doing that. I'm never going to read the comments. Never. And I'm going to rotate the hook so I can put this white on the throat or the belly, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes it's nice to use calf tail on the belly or the throat, or you can use marabou and get a really nice effect, or you can use bucktail and then marabou. Some of Kenny's patterns call for marabou on the throat, like the September night, and it looks awesome. So the great thing is you have a lot of options. And there are some people who tie just the most amazing, beautiful flatwings. If you go out there and look online, the color combinations are fantastic. You really get inspired by other people's work, which is part of what's cool about fly tying. So this is not the most beautiful head right now, but I'm not really worried. But I am going to take my bodkin and I'm going to distribute these hairs right here. And that is sticking up a little crazy. Alright, take a look at that. Now the other thing is, after we finish this, I'm going to go turn on the hot water on the sink and hold the head under the hot water, and it's going to soften the materials and groom the materials, and then I'm going to lie it down on paper towel and let it dry, and that helps shape the fly. And I think that's kind of an important piece, or a nice piece. It's not essential, but it's nice to do. Alright, so we're getting near the end here. So I like the amount of materials here. I might do one other accent. Oh, getting crazy on me. A little bit of static today. I think I'm going to throw in a little bit of this coral on top for a little color block, and build up the top a little bit more. I also want to make sure my throat or underbelly is not too dense, too thick, because if it is, it can actually roll the fly over, especially with a smaller flatwing. You want this to track nicely, right? So you want to have more of the materials on top. Okay. Yeah, I like that look. Okay, and I'm leaving this rough right now. I don't want to keep making it neat, because that would just build up material. Now I'm going to use some crystal flash doubled over. That's going to go underneath the last layer on top, the peacock herl. It's kind of sometimes can be hard to find the longer peacock herl, but when you do, grab it. Okay. Again, if you pull down too hard, you will send this all splaying all over the place. I just got myself. Yeah, these hooks are sharp. Okay, good one. Okay, and I like to groom that. Alright, now, before the peacock herl is probably the most challenging piece, and I normally do this with wax, but I don't have it in front of me. So I'm going to take the jungle cock and pick two comparable feathers, one on each side for the eyes. Okay, so here's two pretty good feathers right here. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to hold in the middle and pull the extra feathers back, but I'm going to leave this on here. I might trim a little bit of it so I can adjust them when I want. See that? So I leave this so I can move them around, because it's kind of hard to put them on evenly on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to turn this towards me. I'm going to look down and say, do I like that? And do like two really loose wraps. How does that look? Do the same thing with the other one. Kind of remember how much you took off. Trim that. And then usually I run it through wax, but this is no big deal. And make sure you line it up. No one likes a fly with crazy eyes all over. The fish don't care. The fish don't care, but the fishermen care. And then I'm gonna, if I like where it is, I'm gonna trim that. Trim that. Now I'm gonna start to like clean up this head. Alright, and if something's not behaving, get rid of it. You're the boss. And it's kind of fun to change change colors of thread too. It's a totally different effect when you change the thread color. Okay, last part on the longest tie ever is the peacock herl. So this is kind of interesting. I mean, depending on what you like, again, I mean about, I don't know, 10, maybe more, maybe less, depending on what you like. Say, okay, well then this is wet, what does that look like? And then I am going to line up the ends, which is a pain in the neck. But I'm not going to make it so rigid. I don't want them to be all the same length. I want to have some tapering. I like a tapered effect. And never cut the ends of your peacock herl, unless that's part of your pattern. I know, again, just my opinion. Alright, so they're tapered. Now, this is where the water comes in really handy. And I'll move this over. Jeff, you want to focus on the water? Alright, so you get this in here. This really interesting thing happens. So I get the sweat, and then I let go. I let go of this end. And the feathers line up. And they line up with the same arc. Right? So otherwise they might be all splayed out crazy. See that? I can also, if I needed to, take this and curl it like a ribbon. You know, it's not, it depends what's necessary. Depends on your material. Okay, so this is definitely the thing you save for last. I like it to go a little bit beyond the feathers, right on top, and I just give a couple of medium pressured wraps. Make sure it's right in the middle there on top. Now I want to trim so they don't stick out into the eye. But you don't want to trim too far back because then you'll have like this snub nose, which sometimes happens to me. And then I'm going to just clean it up and not put too much pressure there. I mean, there's a time and a place, right, with like deer hair, but not in this pattern. Okay, now this is the whip finisher. Boy, that was fun to learn about. And I'm going to give it about 2, 3, 4 goes. Pull that tight. That was very sloppy. I wish that wasn't in the video. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then let go. And I pull it here. Take a look at everything. Use my fingernail. Yeah, I'm going to cut that nice and tight. Because I'm not going to put epoxy on this head. I'm just going to use the lacquer and, alright, taking a look. Make sure there's no weird bumps. Sometimes I'll use this and then the nail polish, which gives it a nice even finish. And also a little nail polish on the jungle cock will sort of help keep that from getting damaged. What will happen is the jungle cock will get messed up first. That's just how it works. You can always replace them. So I put a little bit of lacquer on that. And then check. Oh, pretty good. Pretty good alignment. And if some pieces are sticking out crazy, clean it up. Again, the fish don't care, but you might. Okay, thank you to Fin and Feather. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to Dave. And pinch the barb. That's the message I'm getting. Pinch your barbs. I don't have my pliers here right now, but pinch your barbs. You don't need a barb. And it's more sportsmanlike to have the barb pinched. As long as you keep your pressure on the fish. I don't think I've ever lost a fish due to a pinched barb. And in fact, in some ways it might help you keep the fish on. I think Chico Fernandez wrote about that. So, again, Jeff, do you want to talk about your website? Nope, he doesn't want to. So this is the Kenny Abrames Flatwing. Okay. And I'm going to groom it. And then I'm going to, later on, I'm going to run it under the hot water. And you wouldn't believe the action on this fly. It's pretty incredible. Stripers love it. Go for it.